you knew so much of what the job would likely be, but there was this one thing, or something that you wish someone had told you. We're going to give you the a pass to go back in time and tell yourself this. What would that be?
I think for me, the thing I wish somebody had told me is that, as the CFO, you don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to be an expert in all areas. And then secondly, I would say that to be successful, you have to be laser focused on prioritization. What I say is have sharp elbows when you come to saying, yes and no. So I think as I took on more responsibility and the stakes are higher in terms of your decisions, really giving myself an opportunity to pause and take a breath, and really take a step out and back, and sort of that permission to come up for air is a really important part, I think, of being able to be successful in a CFO roles. I think the CFO role can be lonely at times, and it doesn't have to be. You don't always get perfect information. You rarely get perfect information to make decisions. But where I focus and I learn to focus is gathering good people around me, collecting options. But most importantly, I think creating that space to be curious and drive inquiries, and get as much information as you can, which will always get you to an answer. It might not be the right answer, but a good, solid answer that has a solid strategy and a thoughtful operating plan. That there's always times where, I'm up late working on models, but we're really trying to just take a step back from that, and learn how to, like I say, prioritize and focus on the things that are really, really important. So.
Excellent. Thank you for that. We always like to ask our guests to reflect a little on the personal side with us. We're wondering if generally there's something most people might not know about you, something that at least many of your colleagues might not know, perhaps. Anything come to mind?
Yeah, I think, I touched on it a couple of times. I think I'm always very curious and adventurous. I think that has come out in the kind of the decisions I've made in my career. That adventure took me to Australia and Asia for a point in time. I'd worked across different teams in Europe very early in my career, where I think I learned to really take on other people's perspectives and understand people's perspectives. I'd worked and lived in countries where I didn't speak the language, and it's a very humbling experience when you cannot communicate in your native language. I think that set me up really for success in many areas in thinking about other people and understanding their perspectives. But really, I think it goes back to that curiosity. And I remember getting that call, like I say, in London to move to the US. And then I was at my rehearsal dinner when I got the call to say, do you want to move from DC to Seattle and take on a new team there? So I think people would understand. And I recently moved back to DC as well. So really understanding that adventurous nature that I have and how I love to travel and take on new experiences.
Would you have a book selection for us, something or a resource, something that's made an impression on you in the past, or it might be something you escape with? Don't know. Anything come to mind when we ask for a book selection or a resource?
Well, it's interesting. I'm actually reading, it's actually on my desk here. I'm reading at the moment a book called In Her Own Voice by Jennifer McCollum. And it's about her rise to CEO of Linkage. And I really like the book because less about sort of overcoming biases or stereotypes, but really because it helps articulate the benefits of being sort of authentic and a determined leader, tackling those internal biases or the internal critique that we may carry around, or maybe things that are sort of holding us back. I also like the book because it's very data driven and provides excellent evidence of how companies with a well-balanced leadership team are far more likely to sort of outperform their peers. So it's really well written in terms of sort of being data driven and identifying, like I say, things that tend to hold us back in leadership positions.
Uh, Christine, I want to ask about your dog, who we keep seeing over your left shoulder there.
Sorry for
But
the
this is pet
distraction.
med, so I think it's appropriate. We can ask about your pet. How old a dog? Is it a poodle? It looks like a poodle.
It's actually a Legoto. It's a
Oh,
and I've only had him for about a month, so we're still trying to figure out our working relationship here. As you can see, this was not the plan for him to be jumping up and down. I have no idea what he's doing on the sofa, playing with something right behind me.
yeah.
Um,
We've noticed, but that's nice. Well, welcome. We're happy he's part of the family. We're going to jump back and ask you to actually look forward the next 12 months. We're wondering what your priorities are as CFO of PetMeds.
Yeah, I think in the last 18 months, I've been in the job for a year and a half. I've made a lot of changes. We are very focused right now on sort of digesting and executing with the acquisition. We've had multiple partnerships that we've driven with a telemedicine company, which we're really excited about, with an insurance company that we're really excited about, Pumpkin Investor. So for now, for the finance team, we're really focusing on, like I say, digesting some of those investments and really setting the team up to scale and grow over the next 5 years. Through the systems that we've put in place, the processes that we're putting in place, how we're using AI technologies and organizing data that will really enable the business to grow without adding a lot more G&A, but providing us with kind of that flexibility and scalability to grow the business over the coming years. And finally, I continue to work on my own advice of coming up for air and being a strong, strategic thought partner. So,
Christine Chambers, thank you for joining us on CFO Thought Leader.
thank you, Jack.